Hi everyone, I'm Nuojun. So before today's presentation, I'd like to have a brief introduction of myself. I'm the first year master student at USC. I'm currently studying with Mrs. Blaha. And I'm really sorry that I'm not able to take the class with you guys together since I'm currently living in China and the time zone is different. It's totally different. The class time would be 3 a.m. in the early morning in China. But I'd like to say thank you to Dr. Pierce that allowed me to watch the recorded lesson. I'd really appreciate. And I hope the pandemic will get better so that we can get to know each other at USC on campus, hopefully. So yeah, that's basically about me, and we'll talk about the level 2 the etudes of level 2. So the first piece I'm gonna play is Czerny's 101 progressive exercises, opus 261 in C major. So first I will play it. So what I think Czerny wants the students to work on is the 5-finger pentascale. I think that's what in English called pentascale. So it's just five notes. Like this. And on the left hand, I think it's pretty easy. So basically just the chord. So it's basically work on the C major scale at the last 4 bars. And as we all know, Czerny is a student of Beethoven, and Czerny brought a lot of music ideas and materials from Beethoven's work. So Czerny wrote a lot of works that can help students to improve their finger techniques, strengthen their finger, which is beneficial for the young beginners. For me, I was taught by a Chinese teacher when I was young, and then my teacher asked me to play the Czerny's opus 599 and opus 740 and opus 299. I don't know whether the piano teachers in the US will teach this kind of work to improve their technique, but in China I would say it's really popular textbook for students to learn at a very young age. And the next piece I want to talk about today is Chee-Hwa The Wind. So Chee-Hwa is a female pianist, music educator, and composer. So she was born in 1965 in Malaysia, and she studied at Oral Roberts University and Southern Methodist University, which is in the US. So she is currently an assistant professor at Oberlin Conservatory of Music. And this work, this piece, The Wind, is actually from a collection called A Child's Garden of Roses, 8 imaginative piano solos, and each piece corresponds with a poem by Robert Louis Stevenson. So Chee-Hwa, she really loves the power of story in the synthesis of visual arts, literature, poem, and music. So she enjoying combining these elements into her music, which is really gives the students to have an imagination toward the music, which I think is good for the students to learn. And also I think it's really interesting for students to get to know this poem and the meaning behind it. And I found a score that includes the poem for this piece, The Wind, so you guys can have a look of the poem itself. And then I'll play it. And the third piece I want to talk about today is called Melody. It's composed by John George. Actually, I didn't find his information a lot on Google or even Wikipedia. So I did a little bit research on him, which I think is really interesting. So he was born in, in 1944 in Illinois, and he was born from a musical family and began the piano lesson at age 5 with a piano teacher who is really harsh to him. So the result is not very pleasant, I guess. And during his high school 2 years, he went to the Navy. And after that, he began to enroll a college in Maryland as a composition major. And it is this composition major that requires him to play the piano. So at that time, he began to working on the piano. And there's a lot of his information. If you guys interested in, I would share a link to you guys so you guys have a look, because the time is limited of presentation. So his wife actually contributes a lot to his work. It's called The Artistry at the Piano. There are 4 books of this series book, the Artistry at the Piano. So the melody is from book 3. So I'll play it. So this piece I think is really beautiful, the melody itself, and I think it's a good piece for students to get to know the rhythm. First of all, the dotted rhythm and is the 16th note on the right hand. And it repeats and repeats. And on the left hand is so I think it's a good piece for students to learn the rhythm and also have a very relaxable wrist at this time, and have a really musical sound in their mind. Yeah. And the next piece I want to talk about today is called Gliding. It's composed by Takas Janos. So he was born in 1902. He was a Hungarian composer, and he studied at Academy of Music and Performing Arts in Vienna. And in 1926, what interesting me is that he made a acquaintance with Bartók. So this work, I think the reason why it's called gliding, I think because the notes tend to descend somehow. So I'll play. So it's basically the melody itself. And on the right hand is also descent, the note. So I guess why it's called gliding, which is an interesting piece to work on, and it's a really beautiful piece. And the fifth piece is called Colored Window. It's composed by a female composer called Edna-Mae. So she is one of the most respected name in piano pedagogy. So I'll play for it. So I guess the composer wants the students to focus on the third, and then bring up the top voice, I guess, to have a control, and also there have some crossover, other cross hand for students. And the last piece is called Pinwheels. It's composed by Nuojun's Linda, and I'll play for it. So this piece, I think is just the third movement. So I think it's a good way to practice the third by two different hands. Yeah, so that's all about my presentation.